Hey guys, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I got a fun little project today. Should be a quick little build, but I'm going to be building a new 2x72 belt grinder. You probably see that in the title. Anyways, this is going to be a little improvement on the one I have already. I built. I got the plans off of the DCKNIVES website. If you go check that out, fantastic website. But I'm going to bring you guys along, show you what I've done, show you the 3 horsepower belt grinder that I'm going to build, and show you the price and all the stuff I got for it. So glad you're here. Let's get started. Alright, so here's virtually all the stuff that I'm going to need. Been procuring all the stuff, but these here 2-inch square tube, they're 10 inches long, 3 of those. I'll show you. I'll frame it up in a second, and then you got a 1 4-inch piece, and that kind of makes the frame for the tower and stuff. I've gone ahead and done a little bit of fabricating on this already, just kind of getting, so the video won't be so long. But again, the DCKNIVES website, the grinder build gives you all the dimensions and such like that. But this is a piece of the 2-inch steel cut at an angle here, drilled through to hold the wheel on there, a large hole cut out so the bolt can fit through, and then this here for your come on. I got it a little too tight. So for the tracking adjustment, and so tracking adjustment there, make sure the belt stays on where you want it to stay on, and so did that quick. That's kind of really one of the more time-consuming components of it. Welded on some. This is 1.5-inch tubing. Steel tubing. I did weld on a piece of 1/8 inch on each side so that it will sit very flush and true in this tube. There's not a whole lot of play to it once you get some tension on it. A couple of springs that go, or a spring. Let's see which one I like better. But that puts the tension on the belt. And so there's that. We got our motor. It's a 3 horsepower, 3-phase motor, and I've got me a VFD China. You can see, cheap. That's all the money I have in it. 458 bucks. VFD was $100. The 3 horsepower motor. It's used, but it was in very good shape. Talking down to 100 bucks on that. This platen, 49 bucks. The wheels, the drive wheel, 49 or 89 bucks, 45 and 89, and then just miscellaneous little knobs and bolts and springs and stuff like that, about 16 bucks or 60 bucks, and then some just miscellaneous pieces of steel. But let's get started and going on the frame. Kind of get it all welded up and mounted, and then we'll start kind of getting everything else hooked up. Alright, so this is the gist of the frame. This is the top pillar where the tracking arm goes in. This is where your platen attachment and your tool rests. And then this is just the support in the front. And so I'm going to square these all up, make sure they're nice and true, and then just throw a weld on them. Kind of tack them around, make sure everything's nice and straight and lined up, and then flip it over and kind of do the same thing on the other side. tacked up. I'm gonna hit it with the little sanding wheel right quick and get all these little spatters off of it, and probably break out the TIG welder and hit a few welds in here. I'm gonna have to MIG these because really large gaps, but that's the frame. It's gonna sit on this piece of steel right here, like so. And this will be like so, and then we'll have the motor right here, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna get all this welded up, and then I'll get it centered on this here and get it ready to be welded there, and we'll be well on our way. All right, so got it all welded up, cleaned a lot of the spatter off of there, and now we're going to mount it onto the plate. And so 1 inch from the sides and 1 inch from the front. It's still hot. So just like that, weld this down, and get them moving over onto the motor. Figure out where to mount that thing. Drill some holes. Gonna countersink these screws so it sits flush on the table, and bolt the motor down. So unfortunately the motor does not have, its mounting does not allow for much adjustment this way. It'd be forward and backwards, so I'm gonna have to play around with that, just make sure it's perfectly lined up and where I want it. So we'll get this welded on right quick, and then start working on the motor. the motor mounted. It's all hooked up on there. This is welded up. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is attach this piece right here, which is I'm going to mount the VFD speed controller for the motor onto this, so I can control the speed. It'll be right here and all that. So I'm going to weld this on here, and then from there we'll wire up the VFD and hook it up and start running this, and making little fine adjustments on the wheels and such like that. So weld this on right quick, and then we'll get going with the next one. Okay, I don't know what that means. Made in China, whatever. VFD inverter frequency speed control, VFD 22 kilowatts. So this is the VFD that I got on Amazon. It was 99 bucks. This is going to take single phase to 3-phase, which is a 3-phase motor. I've got 220 single phase here in the shop. So let's pull this thing out and start working on getting it hooked up. This is XSY AT1 Zhen Shuang Yuan Company. So this will mount on here like so, and everything works the way I planned, then we'll be able to adjust our speed to this thing like so. So let's get this thing mounted up and wired on, and then we'll figure out how single phase input, three phase output, LNE. Alright, LNE, Delta connection method, 3-phase, 220 volt motor, go to W, V, and U. Okay. And then the ground. Okay, looks simple enough. Alright, let's get this thing mounted up, and then we'll wire everything up and plug her in and see if she chooches. Alright, so I got it wired up temporarily. I want to clean that up quite a bit, but there's very little room to do anything there, so I'm gonna have to figure something out. But motor's wired up, VFD is on. I got a plug here. I'm gonna plug this thing in and let's see if it runs. Okay. throw a platen and a belt on this thing right quick, and let's kind of see how the adjustments are. See if I need to tweak anything, which I know I'll have to do. But wow, that's pretty awesome. Okay, now I can see that I need to make some adjustments. I'm gonna have to move this platen out. I'm gonna have to move this platen out just a little bit. I have to put some kind of a spacer between this tube where it goes here, and then I'm gonna have to move the drive wheel in just a little bit, and I want everything to be tracking on the center of the wheel, so I need to move the drive wheel in about 1/8 of an inch, and it looks like I need to put a maybe 3/16 of an inch. Just trying to find something to measure with. There we go. Oh, 1/4 of an inch there, and a 1/4 there. So an eighth in that way it would get, and then 1/4 of an inch out, and we should be tracking perfectly true in the middle of all of these wheels. So we'll do that and kind of button everything up. But there we go. There's a 3 horsepower 2x72 belt sander. We are rocking and rolling. I was reading through this, and these VFDs are very, very interesting. They got a lot of different parameters. It's like 98 different parameters and programs and things like that to make adjustments on. I'll have to kind of play around with it and figure it out, you know, exactly where and what. The other thing I might consider doing is getting a Hall effect sensor in one of these wheels or something that can measure the RPMs and how quickly the belt is going, because I do not know exactly what my surface feet per minute is on this one, but I would like to kind of be able to dial that in somewhere. But aside from that, I'm working pretty good.